This is Paul. Yeah. I was reading through this, and there's something that caused me a great amount of concern. Yeah. The ocean absorbs nearly 25% of the annual emissions of the anthropogenic CO2. Yeah. And the absorbed CO2 reacts with salt water, increases the acidity of the ocean. Yes. Mhm. What happens if you desalinate the salt water so as to take the salt out of it, make fresh water, and make electricity? Does it increase the acidity of the ocean water when desalinating water? Now, I know that you say, well, it doesn't really matter. But to me, the idea of increasing the acidity of the ocean, yeah, does actually affect the aquaculture. Yes. Now, this is the average global temperature from 2015 to 2019. Yeah. If I release steam that increases the temperature of the atmosphere because of the heat of the steam, yes, at a certain altitude it freezes. Right. It cools down the farther up it goes. Yes. If you were to have a larger layer of ice around the Earth, yes, would that reduce the actual average global temperature of the Earth? Yes, even though it does increase the temperature while rising. Now, 1.1 degrees Celsius doesn't sound like a whole lot. Yes, yes, yes. But I kind of think, yeah, I'd like to decrease the temperature of planet Earth, and I'd like to reduce the acidity of the ocean. Yeah, and it could be that when releasing fresh water into the atmosphere, a great amount of fresh water, because of the reduction of the salt in the salt water, could reduce the acidity. Now, could happen. Now, this is the human land use. Yes, very, very concerning to me. Directly affects 70,000% of the voice. Now, if I didn't have garbage in the land, yes, but I was to incinerate it or I was to use an autoclave and manufacture building products out of it, exactly what is the total amount of land used for the disposing of garbage? Could you get me all those garbage dumps and their actual boundaries? Yes. And then the ownership of every garbage dump and the amount of garbage in them. And then the possibility of using the land for housing instead of for the disposing of garbage. Every percent counts. Now, this is the Arctic summer sea ice has declined 12%. At a rate of approximately 12% per decade since 1979. I wanted to make a few of these steam generators, yes, from the ice of the Arctic. Now, a lot of those that are signed, excuse me, yeah. Well, let's say you have temperatures available to you of 400 degrees Fahrenheit to 6,000. Yes, and you turned a welder upside down and it melted the ice at the top of the North Pole, yes, causing the water to be useful in the manufacturing of steam. Yes. So the steam went up, yes, at approximately 3 to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Would that attract the cold to the Arctic regions because of the heat that attracts the cold, causing a freezing of the actual ice of the Arctic? I'd like to decrease the amount of the melting of the Arctic. Yes. And then I'd like to decrease the size of Antarctica using a different technology and methodology. Yes. So that Antarctica is smaller and the Arctic is bigger. Now, this is the global sea level rise, increased from 3 millimeters per year during the period of 1997 to 2006 to 4 millimeters per year during the period of 2007 to 2016. Yeah, they actually measured in millimeters the increase in the size of the oceans. I don't know how they do it. Yes. But how many trillions of gallons of desalinated water would be necessary to decrease the sea level rise as the global sea level decrease instead of the global sea level rise? Now, if I was desalinating 1 trillion gallons a year, yes, do a rough guesstimation at different locations throughout the world that I do this in instead of just one location.